Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live on YouTube and I'm on Instagram to take your U.S. immigration related questions. I also have a great topic to talk to you about today. I'm going to be talking about the Prima Facie Determination letter. So I have three that we received yesterday. And so we're always happy to see the prima facie determination notice that comes in because it means that our client's case is going in the right direction. And then it also means that our clients can get valuable benefits in certain states. So the prima facie determination letter has multiple functions. The first function is that we like to see those because we're able to then determine that at this time, they don't need anything further. And that should they have to make a decision today, if everything in the application was true, as stated in the application, they would approve it. But they always like to have an immigration officer go through it with more detail, go through your background check, go through the application with more detail to make sure they don't have any further questions. And if they don't, then an approval will likely follow. So it's similar. I like to think of it as an pre-approval letter, right? When you're applying for a loan, sometimes you get what's called a pre-approval letter. Doesn't mean it's a full-blown approval, but it means that they're going to just, the underwriters are going to review your application with a lot more detail before actually giving you the loan. And so it's the same thing in this case where they review to see if you qualify, and if they believe you qualify, and if everything is true, they will give it to you. They will go ahead and send this notice. And this is what leads me to talk about the second function of the prima facie determination letter, is that it allows certain individuals who get this to get public benefits or assistance in their state. This is for victims of abuse, domestic violence. And if you've been mistreated by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse, parent, or adult child. And so individuals like this are often in a vulnerable situation to begin with. And so if you need to get out of the situation, if you need assistance getting on your feet because you have left the home with the relative, maybe you need food, maybe you don't have a job because it was the spouse or the child or the parent who was the one who was financially supporting you, and so now you need certain necessities. Maybe you need an identification, you need an ID in the meantime, a state ID or a driver's license to be able to get settled on your own. And so this prima facie determination letter can provide you the benefits, these types of benefits. But here's the catch, right? Is that it's the state laws differ. So from state to state, it's going to be different. Some states don't really have any benefits available, even with a prima facie determination letter. What they do want to see is an approved VAWA, which means that you would have to wait. You would have to wait for some time. Um, but then with other states, they do offer those benefits. So what I usually say is that if you want to figure out what you can get with a prima facie determination letter, you can always get in touch with the office. So they have different names for these types of offices in different states, but it's often called the Human Services Department, or the department regarding welfare benefits, or the family. So I believe in Florida it's the Department of Families, I think so. Children and Families, so Department of Children and Families. So it's going to depend on what the name of the agency is, but that's going to be the agency where you can call and you can ask them, let them know that you now have a prima facie determination letter. What can you do with this? What kinds of assistance can you get? And they would likely be able to tell you. Now, when it comes on to the state ID, once again, the different states have different rules regarding whether you can get a driver's license. You do have some states that you don't even need a prima facie. For example, in New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, you don't necessarily even need to have, to have documented status or to have some kind of legal status or to have this prima facie to be able to get your driver's license. Of course, they have additional requirements, like you have to show that you are a resident of the state, other types of, doable types of evidence for you. But in some other states, they may be more restrictive, but they do allow individuals who receive a prima facie determination letter to get their driver's license. So the best thing to do is, if you're looking for a state ID or driver's license, you should go to the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, in your state and ask them directly. Let them know that you're in the process of applying for immigration benefits and you received a prima facie determination letter based on VAWA, and they can tell you whether they do allow individuals with this notice to get their state ID or driver's license. So that is the best way to navigate it, navigate that situation if you do get a prima facie determination letter. So now that I've said my piece, I'm going to go ahead and I would like to get your questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments, and I will go ahead and answer. I did see, I think one person asked, how do you get in touch? Go to the link in the profile. So I have a link in the profile page. You can go ahead, click on that link. It's going to take you to a page with all you need. You can go to the website. The website is going to give you a contact form, online chat. During the weekdays. You also have the phone number there. There's also a button that you can press and you can easily schedule your own consultation. This is also on the contact page on my website. So many different ways to get in touch. For example, if the phone lines are busy for some reason, you can always go ahead and get in touch through the online chat or through offline message on the website, or you can go straight to the contact us form on the website or through the link on this profile to be able to schedule your own appointment. You don't even have to speak to someone, but you will always be able to call that number. And even after hours, that number is 24/7. But during office hours, the scheduling coordinators will gladly assist you to schedule your appointment. All right. After VAWA fingerprint and prima facie letter, what's next? So it's usually to wait for a decision. And if you have submitted your adjustment of status and work permits, that would be next. The work permit doesn't come right after the work permit. Keep in mind, it can take anywhere from 6 months. The shortest I've seen is 4 months, and it can take up to a year to get the work permit. But after you've done your fingerprints, after you've gotten the prima facie, it's to wait for the final decision. And while waiting for the final decision, you will, once the time that you have, because the prima facie letter does expire, right? And so once it expires, they automatically reissue another prima facie letter, so that it's basically letting you know they still need time to make a decision, but they still believe you qualify, and they still want you to be able to possibly apply for benefits if you need that, or to renew your benefits if needed. So while you're waiting for the final decision, if you have applied for adjustment of status, that's also applying for your permanent residence at the same time through VAWA, you would be able to get your work permit, your social security number, and if you've applied for your travel document, that would be the next thing while you wait for a decision. Now, keep in mind, just going back to the question of how do people get in touch with me? You should know that I represent clients in all 50 states and around the globe. So no matter where you are, I can represent you. When it's time to apply to remove conditions to get 10-year green card, is a joint lease with your spouse a must have. It's a great idea to have that. Because they do want to see that you're living together or some evidence to show that you're living together. So that could be one of the very important pieces of evidence that they must see. That they not necessarily must see. I mean, when it comes to the marriage-based process, even with the removal of conditions where you're going from the 2-year to the 10-year, keep in mind it's not a one-size-fits-all. And, I have tackled situations where the couple, they live with someone else. And when they live with someone else, there may not be a lease involved. And in that case, you'll have to find other evidence to show that you have been living together over the past 2 years. However, a joint lease is one of those pieces of evidence that is more seamless once presented properly, and just an easy way for the officer to check off that you have proven that you have a common residence, because living together is a part of showing that, putting out there that you are a married couple. So where are you located? The office is located in Boca Raton, Florida. However, I represent clients in all 50 states and around the globe. And then it says, my attorney submitted RFE. After submitted RFE, how long initial receipt and PF letter in VAWA case? Go ahead and you make sure you talk to your attorney. Your attorney is going to be the best person to know your case. However, and the timelines differ, but I have seen about anywhere from a week later after submitting an RFE, a response to an RFE, to a month later to get that prima facie determination letter. But you should always talk to your attorney about about your case, because your attorney is going to know it best. Keep in mind that this is general information and it's not personalized legal advice. So you may be getting facts here that it may contradict what your attorney says, and that's because your attorney knows your case, and a case can be different just based on the facts, right? The facts that is in your particular circumstances. So keep that one in mind. All right, keep putting those questions in the comments. After the first 2-year green card, why would you get a second 2-year instead of a 10? You're not supposed to get a second 2-year. You're supposed to get a 10-year. So if you've gotten another 2-year, so if you've gotten a 2-year based on marriage, and then you went and removed the conditions and you got another 2 years, 2-year green card after being approved for the removal of conditions, then that means that was a mistake. But I think this is where I think you may be misunderstanding things, is that after you apply to remove the conditions on your 2-year green card to get the 10-year, you will get a notification letter giving you a 2-year extension. The 2-year extension is there to make sure that you can continue to show proof that you're a permanent resident until they approve the application, the removal of conditions on the 2-year, to give you the 10-year green card in the mail. At that point, you'll get the 10-year green card in the mail. So you may be referring to the 2-year extension, but the 2-year extension doesn't mean you've been approved for that 10-year. It's just there to make sure you can show proof of permanent residence so you can continue. So if you have overstayed in the USA by 6 months, is it possible for you to get a Q1 visa? work permit. So once you've overstayed, your options are limited, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. This is where it's important to schedule a consultation, because I'd have to understand the reason for the overstay and whether you do have options to fix your status to be able to get, to get a work permit. But keep in mind, the work permit is only granted if you qualify for another type of immigration benefit. You would not be able to get any kind of visa, because remember, the visa is for when you're outside of the United States coming into the country. Once you're already in the country, you're not getting a visa. At most, you're getting some kind of status. And to get the work permit, you have to then qualify for a kind of status that's going to allow you to get the work permit. My son's case processing time says 3 months in his online account. Is that accurate or just an estimate? So I'm not sure what your son is doing, because processing times differ from case type. So you'd have to be more specific. After update your documents to NVC, how long for an interview? It's going to depend, but around the globe right now, I'm seeing a trend of anywhere from 6 months to 12 months to get an interview date. And that's after you've been documentarily qualified. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So yes, a big part of the immigration process is to wait. And at the point that you submitted a response to a request for evidence, you really don't have much choice but to wait to see what the response will be. And they can take months and months to make a decision after you submitted a response to an RFE. All right. So I don't see any more questions, and I'm pretty much finished with the topic that I have been talking about. So I'm going to head out. Today is Friday, so you will be seeing me on Monday again. Thanks again for all your questions. So I do see one more. What about after we have submitted affidavit of support and civil documents? So after you've submitted it, and this is at the National Visa Center again. This is the National Visa Centers when the immigrant relative or the immigrant worker is outside of the United States, and so they have to go ahead and review those documents before they send it to the embassy. So in that case, they're taking about 3 months, 2 to 3 months to review it, just to tell you whether they've accepted it. And then after that, it can take anywhere from 6 months to a year or a little over a year to get that interview. His case is consular processing. However, when I checked the app yesterday in the section that shows documents, there's a slot for case processing. It says 3 months. So it may be if you've submitted documents, and it depends on the country you're in, but it may be the time it takes for them to review the documents, or it may be I don't know because I'm not your attorney and I haven't reviewed, but if you're at the point of the I-130 filing and you're talking about that, 3 months isn't impossible. I'm seeing an average of 9 to 12 months. But if you're looking at the embassy, it's not at the point where it's at the National Visa Center and it's working its way to the embassy. If you've just submitted documents to be reviewed, it takes them about 2 to 3 months just to review the documents to say, yes, everything is okay. And this is why it's important to make sure that you stay on track with the NVC, that you understand what you're getting yourself into, I talked about this yesterday in the live when I was talking about making sure you're represented, because the NVC it can be quite unassuming at first, and then you realize this is a monster, because if documents are not submitted properly, if they're not even submitted in the right format, or they're not submitted even in the correct color, they can reject it, and a rejection means at least another 2 to 3 month delay in your process. But yeah, that so it may be 3 months isn't impossible, but it just depends on where you are and what's going on at the embassy. Can I still apply for a tax ID even when married? Absolutely. So the tax ID is not a social security number, but it does allow you to do business in the US. It allows you to open up a business. It allows you to open up bank accounts. It allows you to purchase property. It can allow you to file your taxes, but it's not a substitute for the social security number. So employers, for example, can't use it to then hire you, or to show that you have some legal ability to work. But it is still a good number to have if you want to file your taxes or do business here. I-130 says case is actively being reviewed for 3 months now. Is that normal? Yes. Yes, it's normal. I probably can do a live just on this case is actively being reviewed, line that they like to put on there, but it just basically means that that document is at the bottom of a pile somewhere, maybe close to the officer's desk for review. So that can sit there with that case is actively being reviewed for it could be a few months, but it can even go on right up to a year when then you get a decision. Hi, good day. My I-130 says case is actively being reviewed for 3 months now. Okay, and so is it okay to get while waiting to submit papers? Now, um, you cannot take this as personalized legal advice. So anything I'm saying here, you can't get up and go do it. So can you go do that? I don't want to go ahead and advise you to do that, because you want to make sure that you're getting proper legal advice first before you do any kind of things like this. It's usually something that's permissible for immigrants to get here in the United States. Usually it does not affect your paperwork, but I would really want to understand, the purpose of getting the ITIN number, just to make sure that there's nothing more to it. This is where it's important to get, just start with legal advice and guidance. All right, so I'm gonna head out. So happy Friday. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the follow, Lelo. And I love the name. Go ahead and look out for me. Look out for videos, informative videos. If you want to give me a call to schedule an appointment. Hi there, Ricky. Go ahead and call the number, or if you want to just go ahead and schedule an appointment without going through a scheduling coordinator, you can do that by clicking on the link, and the link will guide you to the form where you can fill it out and confirm your appointment right away. So thanks again. It's really been a pleasure to talk to you today. I will see you on Monday, friends. Bye-bye.